We can kind of get started.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yongjin Hwang from the Department of Sports and Entertainment Management. Today, I'm going to introduce you guys what is R Studio. Potentially, we will do a very simple data analysis. I wouldn't say analysis. I'll just introduce how we use R and R Studios. And I know that most of you are not familiar with R. You don't even have R installed in your laptop, right? So today, it's gonna be very basics of R. And once we go through this session, I mean, at least you know what R and R Studio, so you should be able to teach yourself using YouTube's or GitHub. There are many great resources. So the purpose of this study, I just want to introduce what R and R Studio is. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Great. So let's go through what R. What is R? It is programming language. It's a language, or you can say syntax. That means that you should be able to communicate with the software. That means you need to understand the special language, R syntax. So learning R is really hard. You need to go through a steep learning curve. It is almost like learning new language. Like I'm Korean. I spent 5-6 years to learn how to speak English. Now it's more like second nature. Same thing. Learning R, you have to spend a lot of time. You know the language, and it's gonna be the second nature. And what we can do with R? We can analyze data. We can also visually represent your data visualization. However, one thing I want to say is that if your purpose is just to visualize data, making fancy, colorful graphs and charts, R might be not the best one, because there are other softwares. SPSS is good, but you can also try Tableau, Tableau. That's the one of the most user-friendly one. It has great graphical user interface. You can do 3-4 mouse clicks. You can even create better graphs and charts than R. However, if you are serious at analyzing data, and R is the best. Why? Because R is super flexible and also versatile. Basically, you can do whatever you want to do. If you can ask someone to develop like customized code, then you can download special addition, extension of the program. That's called packages. Because this is open source, any third-party developer or personal developer can create any type of code. So you can download packages. Does that make sense? That's R. And like 6-7 years ago, it was really challenging learning R. However, now things are much better because we have R Studios. R Studio is not coding or core software. It's more like user interface. It helps you to better navigate the computer program. You know, like for example, like 6-7 years ago, to open a file, you have to hand code everything, like read.csv, parentheses, everything. But now, because we have R Studio, you just click buttons, you're able to do more things. So R Studio is on top of R core, and you have to install 2 softwares. It's basically extension of R. But with R Studio, you can do even more nowadays, like especially data visualization. However, we are not gonna go through that like advanced step. It's just introduction. So first things first, you need to download R and R Studio. How we can download R? It's very simple. On Google, you just type R, just R. You will see this rproject.org.
Questions like we can also help you do that at the same time if you don't know what's happening, like if you're not doing it correctly.
So Brett asked me, I may enable you to just download all the files. So basically you can follow what I'm doing now. So why don't you visit this web, R project, and you hit this link, download R. And then, ooh, it looks crazy. You simply choose this one. This is the main server by R Studio. Or if you want, you can scroll down, you use USCA server, but this one should work. And there are multiple options for multiple platforms. I use this Mac OS, but I assume most of you use this Windows version. So click Windows and choose the base. Once you click, you hit this button, you are able to download the file. Yes, sir. If you use Mac, it's simpler. On this page, just hit Mac OS and choose this version. I assume you use 64-bit system. Yes. Any question installing R? So this is R core, not R Studio. Everything's good? So do you guys want me to wait a couple of minutes? Or should they go pull up R now or with the basic R program? You don't have to. Okay. I mean, you will never open R core. Yeah. We'll use R Studio. So once you are done now, we move on to the next program. Another simple process, R Studio. Oh, not this one. Here, download R Studio. We did R Studio. So you can install. I mean, this is just simple thing. You just Google R Studio and install it. Once you are done, you should be able to see two icons. If you use Mac, if you go to Launchpad, you should be able to see R and R Studio. If you use Windows-based computer, it's a little different, but should look the same. R and R Studio. If you open R, it looks quite simple, but we will never use this simple R. Instead, from now on, we're gonna work on R Studio. Sure. And by the way, if you are lost or those who are not here, I mean, I put everything on PowerPoint step by step, so you should be able to download without any problem. This is Windows version. So make sure to download R before installing R Studio. Oh, if you encounter this page, make sure you choose free. Any questions so far?
Yeah, anyone have R Studio already open? Everyone's still downloading.
Awesome. If you open R Studio, your screen should look like this. Let's put it down. And why don't you click this blank paper icon? If you click this icon, you see this drop-down menu, see R script. You will create new script window. So this is the starting point. Still installing?
Yeah.
I know.
But I mean, you're aware of the feedback. You're ready.
You got an error message?
Yeah, that's what this one. Yeah, so it's just going through the slow process of installing it. Still got the same error message.
Of
Not you, you're good. Alright, that's it. If you need to download the version. Okay, so you have to install R first. So you have R Studio. Correct? That is so can't down R Studio can work once that base art. So there's gonna just there might have been a file for base art. Once that downloaded, then you should get really good. I would just try and open it the other way. If it doesn't open, then go to the Facebook. That was kind of how I guess you might have downloaded it, but you didn't open it. Yeah. So I'm guessing you're gonna do all that. No. There you go. So you should be good now. Maybe try to do the 64 gig thing. He doesn't have a 64. That was people problem. Is you want to try the 32 one?
I mean, if you were not able to install, why don't you use your friend's laptop?
He's able to open base R.
Base R.
For some reason, R Studio is.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll try and help him after. For now,
Mhm.
Okay, they'll just follow. You can follow him.
So once you have RStudio open, the first thing you need to do is that you have to save your project. So hit File. Maybe click New Project. the way you save our studio files, even our core, it's a little weird. You have to install the project, you have to save the workspace file, and you also need to save script file. The first thing you need to do is that you have to create new project. In this time, I use existing directory. I made one for this seminar and open. Now I created my project. Then the next thing you need to do, you have to save your workspace by clicking this button. But once you click this floppy disk, do you guys know what floppy disk is? Maybe you are too old. Like 30 years ago. Save button and choose the same directory that you created. So mine was desktop, this one. So make sure you save all files in the same folder. This is my project file.
Is everyone able, when I set the CSV in the group meeting, can everyone just save that as well for their computer?
Yes, please.
And put it in the same file that save this.
So I just saved my workspace file. So if I go to the folder I created, you see, this is our project file. This is our data, which is workspace file. And then I also downloaded my example data file, which I emailed Brett this morning.
Yeah, I just sent it. It should all be in the system.
And then once you are done, another thing you need to do is that click this session drop-down menu, set working directory, and choose directory. So we tell our studio, we're gonna use this directory for our project. And I choose the same directory. Boom.
Everyone able to get to that step there? No. New session is how we. Okay, so now I think I can do this. Yeah, that's what. I'll move into desktop.
So right now you see only the 3 windows. This is console. So Brett, you want me to wait for a couple of minutes?
Yeah. Where did you save that? Okay, go back to our student. Oh, where is your project folder and make a new folder? Or put it where you want it. It's where you normally save. You click the save where you normally save your classroom. What's that? You want to save classroom? Save the classroom. Okay, so save it to your desktop. Put it on your desktop. In front. Okay, and you have a new folder. No, you can make it. You can put intro to all. You might invite friends. I mean, yeah. Where do I go? So that's the video file. Directly. As it browse. And wherever you save your password, make a new folder, and name it intro to R, click that folder, and then open there. Yep. That's the working directory. Oh, yeah, so just save that, like this, save that.
I need help. So, yep, so I moved it to. When I search for my project.
Yes. So where do you normally save your password to? In our studio, create a new folder. I would save it to your desktop. That's the easiest place to access it, because then it'll just pop open on there. And then you save. Go to session and set your network directory 2 or 1 2. Choose directory. Right. So you can see that the desktop, the file, data file. Yep. I like so you do that. So yeah, you downloaded the 64.
First line in blue.
The access, I have the settings here, but it won't let me
So basically if you click this save button, RStudio will create .r data file. That's basically you save the history of your working. And again, without RStudio, you have to handwrite this code, but RStudio does that for you. Let me show you one more time. It is, oh, not this dictionary. Save it, replace, see the code. RStudio just executed the code.
So now, re-put the thing in there.
And on this window, make sure you are in the folder you just created. So you should be able to see this R data file, our project file, and hopefully the data, example data set I sent you.
Sure. It should be in that folder. You create your back to RStudio. You're going to. Basically, you're going to. Whatever name you want. Browse desktop. That's what Studio. I'm not sure if I'm saying the right thing there. Now you want to network directory. You're at the right spot. Anyone else? You? I'm not. So I just say how do I get your create new project? Where do you say that? You put it on the desktop? Yeah. File. No, same. So then I'm supposed to create projects. So I'm on that. I was going to be just make sure project file. Then you have to also create I think I sent you the file. Everyone is sweating. We just moved it. This one to what's the name?
Yeah, ceremony.
Yeah. You want to really understand I think actually still there.
Bro, the other thing that he involved, Don't even do it. Bradley. Don't even do it. It's not good.
You get screwed up. You didn't.
Okay.
You see, no, I didn't know. My guess for it really is a lesson. I'd already got that in this year.
Yeah, like that. If you didn't drive there, someone wouldn't have. That's the one thing. Exactly.
Like 98 speed.
Like I get what you're saying. It's like it didn't, it wasn't even. Exactly.
From the first play game, I always.
You know?
Already? Sure. I don't want to get through that. Like, you get the movie.
Yes.
So this is basically you just like create you don't that's actually don't do it. See if you go to save our data file. Like must have a like you save like you type R Steve, this now you're just creating new projects in this folder area. So that data file, analytical data, basically you need the for your without being empty. I didn't say you have the type of file. We'll go later. You can create. You've been thinking a long time around it. Export more here. And you can say there are three types of our screen file, our data file. Then I told you now. I think the one kind of the behavior was one of the I think I'm going to use but if they hear the same log, the keep line line also we can keep one screen with this small and so we can which I and that we might not select from
It's complicated, right?
Thanks for going slow.
No, right.
We got a bunch of
So you guys still need more minute, or can you move on to the next step?
everyone good? Perfect. I think we're good.
Awesome. So you should have by now this our data file, our project file, and this is the data file. So the file structure is quite clunky in our. You have this our data. It looks like data file, but this is actually not data file. This is basically the history of your work. Whenever you create any code, create object, you save this, but this is not actual data file. And this is our project file, and this is the data file we are going to use. So before we use the data file, why don't you guys click this blank page button and click our script, and you will see a new window. And then hit another save button. A lot of files. File Studio. Make sure you choose the same folder. Save. And by now, let's reset this. Our desktop. Now we have another file called .r. This is actual script file or coding file. You can save actual R syntax here. So in our 4 sections, this is the script file. This is your coding. You can write whatever crazy 10 pages, whatever you want, you can write it. And this is the console. So basically our core software is just this part. This one is same as R. If you open it, see, looks very similar. R Studio, we have additional sections. This is the script section. This is the console where you can actually execute all the codes. And then This is the workspace. It tells you like what object or variables you have. And this is the miscellaneous. And this one shows you the file folders. And if you create some chart, you will see it on this section. Very good. So make sure you have this R data, script file, project file, and data. That's the basic setup. Now we are ready to run any type of analysis. Are you guys excited? Where can we start? I mean, don't get too excited because the data I brought today is quite simple. I don't remember all the code. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open up this our handbook file, which I also sent to you guys. So you may want to open it. Good introduction about R. You can read it when you go to bathroom. So let's try the simplest one, ls. Copy. I don't even have copy. It tells you like how many objects you have in the project. Of course, here, 0. Does it look better? It looks tiny now.
That's good. Everyone read that.
Let me make this console bigger. There we go. ls. Then the next, I'm gonna try load up the dataset file. So on page number 3, you can copy this code. And you can execute this. Boom. Does it work?
Everyone should have the top right corner, right where it's like under data. Does that show for everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
You see the data? It tells you we loaded this data.
Did it work for everyone else?
Yes. If that doesn't work, that can probably mean that you put your data file in the wrong folder.
I think they don't copy the arrow when you're copying and pasting, like
Right.
do everything after.
So you see this arrow. You see, you shouldn't copy this. So for you to run the code, there are 2 ways. You can either directly copy your code and run it in this console, but I recommend you copying this in the script file first. So I just typed sharp import the data set. In R, sometimes you want to make comments, right? I mean, if you are in a big project, you are end up having a code of 10 pages and 20 pages. Okay, they're not listening now.
He named it something different. So the data file? Yeah. And you need to then type that. Yeah, right here. Why don't you copy this into here? Things. Then you can edit here, which names like N1 singers to N1 singers number. No, you can choose whatever name. That one you have to choose. This is the file and change the dot CSV. Dot numbers. Highlight it. Yeah. Then control enter. Oh, it's a dot numbers file. See how that numbers that CSV, right? So why would you? So basically, you have to load the text file. You are telling R, I'm gonna load this file. But since you changed the file, why don't you re-download the file? Okay. And use it. Yeah.
I know it's very confusing and hard at the very beginning, but it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be getting better. So let's take a look at this code while other people are working on their problem. So right now, we just used this read.csv function. And this is the format. The function means that you command R to do something. And this function, we read .csv file. So the format is that this is the function name. In parentheses, you put the file name in quotation. Normally, you should assign the exact directory, but since we put the data file in the working directory, you don't have to write the actual location of the folder. That's why I ask you to put the data file in the folder you created. But sometimes, you know, let's delete this. If you run this function, if you are Mac guy, to run this code, you do highlight it and run, or do Command Enter. Windows is supposed to be Control Enter, right? Then see, R shows you the data. However, this R workspace didn't recognize the data. We just read it, but we have to assign to any object for R to actually recognize it as a data set. So this is just function. We can assign this function to this. This means NYSingers.data frame, but this part you can name whatever you want. So this is basically an object. This object, we used this function and we load this CSV file. If I do this, Command Enter, and then now you see, okay, R now recognize this data set. If you click this data, it will visualize how does the data look like. We have two variables of height and pitch group. One thing I want to explain is this commenting. In the script file, this is your code. And if you put this sharp at the beginning of each sentence, R recognize, oh, this is just commentary, not actual coding. So R ignores this part. By making this comment, you can easily navigate your code. If you want to share your code with your friend, they can understand what this means. So usually the format is that we make a comment and we put the code. To execute your code, you can either directly type in this console, but the problem is that once you run it, it's just gone, right? So always you put this code in this script file and then highlight run. And whenever something is wrong, R recognize and it will show you this warning sign. Unexpected token. So we can fix it. Good. Any questions so far? So we spent basically 30 minutes to just import this data set. We can do it maybe 3 seconds in SPSS or Tableau, but this is R. This is the setup. I know I at the beginning, I thought it's just crazy. However, the more you use, the more you like it. I promise. Okay, now we have this data set. Let's take a look at the data. If you want to see the data again, you click this, it will show you. Height and pitch group. It looks like the height is in inches and pitch group based on their voice. Let's do some basics of descriptive statistics. Let's use this dim function. It tells you the dimension of your data set. let's copy. And I would say in my script sharp descriptive statistics and dimension. You copy this code. We are using dim function. And if you do command enter or run, it tells us, okay, the data set is 235 rows and 2 columns. Or you can just take a look at this. I mean, this function is kind of meaningless, but I want you to get used to how to write code using R. So you may want to follow what I'm doing now. Sometimes when you import the data set, you want to know the variables, the names, and then you can use names function, parentheses, the data file. If you run this code, it will show you there are 2 variables, height and pitch group. Then what if you want to know just about height? I just want to see height. Let's try height. Okay, this is the name of the variable. Of course, you get some error message. What if you want to do just individual variable? What if you want to assign just individual variable to the R workspace? Then you can try this attach. Attach. If you run it, nothing happens. However, let's try again, height. Now you see R recognize each individual variable. And super simple basic descriptive statistics. I want to calculate the mean of the variable height. You can simply use mean function. This is your data frame, but since we just want to know height variable, you have to use this $mark. It tells R, in this data set, I just want to know this height variable. In that case, you put this $sign.
Is our studio doesn't have a run button. Like it's not letting you run it.
Doesn't have a run button?
I've never seen this. Isn't it because the window is too small? No, like then he just like literally just not run. He can't run. I easily try. That's why I thought like why did you find the thing? Maybe close our studio and reopen. Were you able to implement this? Oh, yeah. Like he can take it all in here, but like for some reason he can't run it up here. I would try closing our studio, like save this, like file save as, or file save. So you're now saving the script file. Yes. Now you can close it. Yes. So, I mean, okay, so you talked about that. Now just go.
which is that. So like three of my friends, they're like, all right.
So we can do simple descriptive statistics. Again, in the code, this is the entire data set. If you want to choose one exact variable, you can use this dollar mark. And why don't you just play around with a lot of codings? We have this table function. Let's see what's gonna happen. Again, you copy and paste the code and run by hitting Command Enter. And it will create a table for you, but just pitch group. It tells you we have this auto group 35, data scores, base 26. This is a simple way to visualize your data set. Then let's do something fun. You can create some chart using a simple function in R. You don't have to download any package. This is just embedded one. If you want to create pie chart, pie. Oh, this is not the one. So we have to assign this first. So we're gonna use this table function, pitch group, that we just did. So basically what this code tells you is that we just assign this function to this object. If you copy this and if you run this, now nothing happens because we just assigned this to this object. But later, if you just type this, you get the result of this function, which is another way we work usually. So, simple descriptive statistics, if you want to calculate mean, this is mean function, variance, standard deviation, you can get the maximum value, minimum value, median. Median means that the middle point of your data score. Do you guys know what IQ are? Extra point. What does that mean? From, right? We just cut off the first 25% and the top 25%. We see the middle 50%. That's IQR. And range means that, right? Oh, statistics. Awesome. So basic statistics, you guys can use these functions. And then let's do kind of advanced code. If you copy this, paste it, I'm gonna use just simple histogram. You can use this hist function, Command Enter, then it will show you this histogram of the variable. If you want, you can export it, create PDF file or image file. You can even zoom each file. Since R is really customizable, you can do crazy things. You can decide how wide each column is. You can also change each, and also you can even title. So this is the code. And let's see what's going to happen by having this one. Woo! We change the shape and color. You can try a lot of things. So basically, you need to understand each code and the type and the format. You kind of need to memorize it. But of course, it is hard. That is why we have this script file. Once you have, you just label it by making comments. Then you rinse. So what if you choose this comment and code all together? Command enter, or it's just ignore, because this is just comment. So this is not part of your actual syntax. And if you want, you can also try this. This is histogram, but I want to see kind of lines, not this like broken point. So if you put plot, okay, I see error. You got an error message, unmatched opening bracket. Okay, it seems like there is a compatibility issue of the font. Let's try this. What density height? There we go. This is the simple histogram. So since we have all this code, we can rerun everything we did before. We have simple histogram with custom color and density curve. Isn't it cool? Dope. Oh, it's been a long time since I hear that word, dope. That's dope. And if you want to create box plot, we can also put box plot. You know, once you understand the syntax, it's not very hard. Now it's box plot. Do you know what box plot is? Your name is Will. So this is box plot, whisker. This is median value. This is IQR thing. Now you can understand. And you can even go crazy. Just copy and see what's going to happen. Again, okay. Let's see what it says. Another compatibility issue. Column. Now we're gonna use salmon 3 color. Let's see. Whew. We just grouped and we customized our box plot. So you can try a lot of things. What if we, by just copying the next code, you can try labeling your box plot. Another error message. Interesting. Let's try this. It is quite often your code doesn't function and you have to figure out what the problem is. So I just labeled the main title of the box plot. I mean, here's the code, just copy and paste, try an error, try anything you want. So I have been using just basic R functions, but what if you want to use more advanced packages available? What if you want to visualize both of the two variables, height and pitch group? Then if you want, you can install some packages. One of the most widely used packages is ggplot2. So you first need to install some packages. The packages I'm going to use is called tidyverse and ggplot2. To do so, you have to click these packages. It will show you the list of packages installed in R now. Let's scroll down. Do I have tidyverse? Tidyverse. Let's delete this for now. Okay, tidyverse, I don't have it. Then you have to install it. To do so, packages, click this install button. As long as you are connected to the internet, you just type tidyverse. Packages and install. Usually, if you type a couple of letters, it will show you the list of available packages.
That's just on the package. That's great. That's all good. You doing good? Are you good? Yeah, I'm just watching.
So are you guys enjoying our session? You like it? This one. Oh, restarting our session. No.
That's correct.
Once you install tidyverse, make sure you have ggplot as well. In this search, just type ggplot2. If you don't, do again install ggplot2. So we have a bunch of packages, but you only see just a few check marks. Right now, I have these packages installed, but only a few are functioning. If you want to use actual package, you have to click and select the exact package. Here, I want to use this one. And I'm going to also use ggplot. It's checked. Then why we check or uncheck? Can we just install? The problem is that packages is developed by a lot of people. Sometimes some packages have the same name of the functions. That's going to make our program get confused. So you only select the exact package you want to use. At this point, we're gonna just use a ggplot. If you want to know about the package, you click it, it will give you brief instruction. And it tells you what each function means. And if you click something, it actually tells you, it tells you what you need to do in the coding. And I'm going to show you just briefly what we can do using a tidyverse ggplot2. I'm going to use this function, and then I'll tell, or I'm going to use this data set, which is ny singers, this one. If you hit this, what's going to happen? Firework? No. Nothing. Because I just tell or I'm gonna use this data set. So I just created a kind of coordinate or canvas, and I need to put more information. I can tell mapping X gonna be height. Y is going to be page group. Is that page group? So what I just did is that I'm gonna use this function ggplot. Data is this nysinger.dfr, and I'm telling R, okay, let's map this data set. I'm gonna use x-axis height, y-axis pitch group. So if I put this, okay, then it just created this coordinate x height, y pitch group. But we are not seeing actual data set. Why I'm not, why, oh, supposed to be lowercase y. There we go. Now we created this coordinate, x variable, I mean height on x-axis, pitch group on y-axis. But we are not actually seeing the data. Then what you can do is that point size, maybe 1. There we go. Whew. So see this process. I just did ggplot, load the data, and I map the coordinate. And then I told R, let's use this dot point as your visual representation. You can also do this GOM function and line. And you can delete this. And it's gonna tell you, boom. Now we have height and pitch group, and in each group, you see the range of the data. So auto one, the lowest is 60, the highest is about 72 something. So this is highly customizable. You know, take a look at this, go back to packages, ggplot2. You can do a lot of things. You can create bar chart, box plot, you can create contour lines, then density plot. You know, there's no limitation. You can do a lot of things. Yes, sir.
Can you show the entire function?
Okay, in this example, I'm using ggplot. Again, this is the loading data. I'm using this data file. I just created this canvas, and then I'm using the line function. And to do so, you have to first install packages. Next time, if you close this R session and reopen, it may not function. So you have to do this. Library. So in your script, at the very beginning, you have to have this code. So your code is going to function. Or you can manually click packages and click the exact package you want to. Do you guys like this? So this is very basics, but I just want to show you normally how I work with R. So my usual workflow is like this. Maybe I'll give you one of my research projects. If I go to iCloud Drive, I save all my research project in this folder. Let's use maybe. Oh, by the way, before you run this R, you have to have your data set, right? Data file. And you have to clean up. Sometimes you have to recode, like putting them together, getting average of each variable. Do not use R for data cleaning, sorting, organizing. I never use R for that type of work. To do that, I always use Excel. If you see my data, this is the variable I'm working on. This is kind of small data set. Yeah, it's kind of small. So what I usually do is that I import. I just want to show you some example of real research project. From Excel, browse, iCloud Drive, research. So this is my data set for the project. I'm working with some soccer organization. And then this is the actual script file. You see, I use this package called Lavan for structural equation modeling, and Samplot, structural equation modeling plot. And then I read this data file. This is the code for your factor analysis. Let's see. I mean, I'm not gonna run this because this is outside of the scope of this session. So this is the example code. A lot of crazy things, and then time to time I put this comment so I can recognize, okay, this is my confirmatory factor analysis. And now I use structural equation modeling. And once I'm done, and then I write up my research paper, which I just submitted to journal, and looks like this. So the one I did was called structural equation modeling. We have research topic and some concepts. I just explain how each theoretical concept is related. So it's like an extension of regression analysis. When we do regression, we have IV and DD. We may have multiple stages of hierarchical, still IV to DD. But structural equation modeling, we have a lot of more complex construct and seed relationship. If you want to know about my study, send me a postcard. I'll give you full explanation. But that's the base flow. You get the data file in Excel or CSV, and then you create R session, create your script, and then you end the code, run the analysis, you get the report. Any question? I'm sorry?
Said, is everyone lost? Well, thank you so much again.
Okay, I'm gonna
This is
stop.
definitely a helpful intro beginner. I think everyone at least kind of knows the purpose of R, and obviously over the next few meetings, we're gonna expand off of this for anyone who wasn't able to get it successfully